All right. Welcome, everyone. My name is Rick Wilson. I'm the Director of Online Services here at USANA Health Sciences. If you ever have questions about online tools, that's my team's specialty. We build all these tools for the most part in-house. You're welcome to contact me anytime. If I don't know the answer, I usually know who does. This is my email address right here. Tonight we're going to be talking about the end-of-year reports and related tools. It's probably going to be a quick training because there's only a handful of things in there, but I'm glad to see the number of people that joined us. So we will go ahead and get started. All right, so the things that we're going to hit on tonight are the check reprinting, year-end report, some of the forms that are available to you online, and then we're also going to hit on tax advantage, particularly the expense reports and Schedule C. Tax advantage is not in all countries. It's in several of the English-speaking countries. All of the countries that have tax advantage have the expense reports. The Schedule C is a special report for the United States. We have the sister report for Canada, and then none of the other countries have anything like the Schedule C report online at this time. But we'll put those off till last. So getting started, to get to almost everything that you're going to need for what we're covering tonight, it's all going to be under the Income Maximizer tab in USANA today. And the first thing we're going to look at is the check reprint. And it's right here in the Income Maximizer section. And it's actually going to house two things that we're looking at tonight. And the first thing we're going to look at is just the check stub reprint. And what you would use this for is if you want to see a single check stub reprint, or if you want to see a whole quarter's worth, or even a whole year's or multiple years worth of your check stubs. Sometimes you'll need this in case of your tax returns. You're filing your own tax returns, or you're having someone do it for you. Also, this is useful if you're ever audited. You can pull these up. They're always there available for you. I think we keep them online for a minimum of 7 full years, so you can go back pretty far with this. So if you were to go ahead and click on that check stub reprints, it would look like this. All right, and so on this page, as I mentioned before, this page actually will do two things for you. First off, if you just want to see one or multiple check stubs, you would put in the dates that you wanted to see. So in this case, we're saying July 1st, 2011 to September 30th, 2011. We can enter in the dates using our keyboard if we want, or you can click these little calendar icons and they would pop up a calendar where you can select the dates. Once you have the date range selected that you want, click the Submit button, and this is what it will look like. On this page, so we said for that date range, I wanted to see all these. This shows me a summary of that particular date range. So if I wanted to see a whole quarter, I can see in each week how much I made for my commissions, my leadership bonus, and so forth, and then a summary at the bottom. If I want to go down into the individual checks themselves, all I have to do is click these buttons on the left that say View Check. And it will bring up a PDF that looks like this. And this is you can print these out. We did it purposely in a PDF so that, one, you can save it to your computer if you want to. Also, it makes printing much more elegant. So as I mentioned before, on that screen there was two things that you could do. One was the check reprints, but also something a little more obscure is an end-of-year report that's kind of hidden here. And this blue link here, let me circle that. It says link here, and in that link, if you were to click on that, that brings up a completely different report. And we're going to go look at that right now. If you clicked on that, it would bring you to a page that looks like this. And what we call it is the reconciliation report. And basically, this is the report if you do your taxes annually over the calendar year. This report is designed specifically to give to your accountant or to use with whatever tax filing tool you use to give you basically all of your income earned for the last year. Unfortunately, this only shows you the previous year, so this one does not allow you to go back 7 years like the check stub reprint does. But if you made more than $600 in the previous year, and then you click open, it will give you a report in PDF format that looks like this. Now this is just a slice of a total report here, but it kind of gives you an idea of exactly what you have here. And again, it's in PDF format, so you can save this to your computer as a file. You can also print it. One part that's not shown here is it does show totals and stuff at the bottom. So that's always there. That's something that most people don't necessarily know even exists, but it's always there for you. Only the last year is there. If for some reason you need previous years, you're going to need to contact our distributor services, and they should be able to get you in contact with whomever is going to create these for you and send them to you. All right. The next thing we're going to look at are forms. So under the Income Maximizer tab again, we have what we call forms. And these aren't completely related to end of year reports, but there is some association in getting kind of your business in line. So right here under free services, it says forms. If you were to click on that, it would take you to a page that looks like this. Now, this happens to be the forms page for the United States. In whatever country you're in, you should have a forms page that is particular to your country's needs. But what you'll notice in here is you have different applications, price lists, different forms for transferring distributorships, IRS W-8 certificates, all these different things that are, in many ways, a corporation, partnership, and DBA registrations. These are related to your end-of-year report. So if you're filing as a business or you're transferring your business to your children or what have you, which are going to be tax-related, this is where you're going to find the forms related to that. Now, if you're what we call a snowbird, meaning you spend part of the year in one country and another part of the year in another country, you may want to see forms from a different country. That's very easy to do. All you have to do is, if you come to the forms page in the particular country that you default to, just click this change market button at the bottom. That will pop up a screen to allow you to choose the country and language you would like to see other than your default. And then it'll take you back to the forms page for that particular country that you selected. All right. The final thing I'm going to walk you through tonight is the tax advantage. As I mentioned before, this is only in some of our countries. And the countries that have it, it's a very powerful tool. We're going to have a separate training just on tax advantage. Tonight I wanted to show you the reports, the end-of-year reports that tax advantage can create for you if you have it. So to get to tax advantage, if it's available in your country, it's going to be right here under subscription services in the Income Maximizer. And I'll go ahead, if we go ahead and click on that, it's going to look kind of like this. It looks a little bit different in some countries, but for the most part, it's kind of this layout here. And within the tax advantage, there is a link over here on the left that says Reports. Now, tax advantage is all about recording your expenses as a business. And the reason you would record expenses in countries that allow it, you actually get to write off those expenses as non-taxable income. So at least in the US and Canada, and I think Australia and New Zealand and a few of the other countries, if I were to take you to lunch and sell you on the idea of a USANA business, I can write off the meal that I fed you and I can write off my gas mileage. If maybe I gave you, say, some USANimals for your kids to try, I get to write those off. All of those are expenses that Tax Advantage can help you track. And I'm not going to go into how Tax Advantage helps you do that tonight. That's on a different training. I welcome everyone to join me for that. But tonight I'm going to talk about the reports that this will generate for you at the end of the year to take to your accountant or to use with the tax software that you use for filing. So if I click on Reports, it will take me to a page like this, the USANA Tax Journal Reports. Now, all countries that have Tax Advantage have these top sectioned reports. So all of these right here are in all countries that have Tax Advantage. And you see there's all expenses, and every year that you're in the system, we have reports, so you can go back as far as you've been in the business. So in this case, we have 2011, 2010, 9, 8, and in this case, it's all expenses ordered by date, all expenses ordered by category, all expenses specified date range, so it's the same report. So maybe you don't file your taxes on a standard January to December calendar. Maybe you do your taxes quarterly, or your tax year is February to January, whatever. This report right here will allow you to specify date range versus these ones here will only bring up a regular calendar month. We also have your charity expenses. So when you enter expenses, you can specify what kind of expense it is. One thing that you can also do in many countries is write off charity contributions. So this would give you a separate charity report. And then mileage. In some countries, mileage is considered a special kind of expense outside of, say, food or travel. If we were to click on one of these reports, say the expenses for 2010 order by date, it would look like this. And this is showing the bottom of the report. This is a test user and they have enormous amounts of data in here. But it shows basically what the date is. I'm going to change this. It shows your date. It shows a description for that expense. It shows what kind of expense it was, what the subcategory for that expense. So this is the category, subcategory, and then the total cost of that expense. At the bottom, it gives you a subtotal. You can print this out, take it to your accountant, print it out, keep it for your records, whatever you do to keep for your taxes. Like I showed before, there are multiple ways to view these reports. Multiple date range, changeable date range. If you want to see it by category versus by date. The reason you'd want to see it by category is because on many tax forms for many governments, they want to see each category of expense differently. They don't care about the date as long as it's within that taxable year or taxable quarter. They want to see by category. So I only want to see my advertising expense, and I only want to see my travel expense. All right. On on the previous screen, we also saw down at the bottom, and this is going to, I think, only be for U.S. And Canada, but there are special tax forms that we will autofill for you. In the U.S. it's called Schedule C. If I remember correctly, in Canada it's like a 2448 or something like that. But anyways, they are special forms that are filed alongside your standard whatever form you use for your country that just itemizes your expenses. And if we were to click on one of those, it would take us to a screen that looks like this. And most of this will be pre-filled for you. So we already know as a company what your name is, what your tax ID is, what your profession is, what your distributor name is, as long as you filled out those forms that we showed earlier, your address, and then any expenses you've already entered in there. We've already put these in, but we've taken you to this page so that you can add to it. So maybe you've only kept track of your USANA expenses in here, but you have other expenses you can write off, and you want to go ahead and add them before printing your Schedule C. Once you're done, you double check it, and at the bottom of this, which I'm not showing, is a button to generate the form. That form will create a PDF that looks like this and can then be printed out and sent in to your government agencies along with your standard tax filings, and you're done. Or you can take it to your accountant, have them proofread it, or transcribe it over to the same form in their doing. So be it. So that is, in a nutshell, all of the forms and related tools that we have online for through USANA today. I'm now to the question and answer section. I don't have any questions posted